Hi again, everybody. It's Dan here. Today, I'd like to talk about why the average person doesn't understand why they're so fat and why they don't get how to lose weight. There's been a massive propaganda campaign going on to convince people that not only that obesity is purely a scientific phenomenon, number one, and number two, that only intelligent, well qualified people can understand it. That logic makes no sense because if you think about it, for millions of years, none of our ancestors were fat or overweight at all. So, with no knowledge of science and no experts to tell us what to do, how is it possible that we weren't fat back then? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because we lived in our natural environment. We evolved to eat foods in our natural environment. And as I explained in the previous video, fructose is the main driver why we tend to gain body fat as a survival mechanism. But it was only available in a short time during the fall. So it served its purpose. So we could only eat a little bit. But now we figured out how to eat lots of it to put it in food. So we eat it year round. We're constantly gaining weight. But the problem is that the reason people don't understand why they're getting fat is because they don't understand. They're looking to experts in science to find the answers, but science doesn't really have the answers because science, for the most part, is seen through a non-evolutionary viewpoint, and people look at the science as at the nuts and bolts level. You're not going to get answers to why something happens from the scientific point of view. You're going to get answers that it happens. There's no causality in that argument, like Gary Taubes says. So the reason why people don't understand it is because they don't think about it from an evolutionary point of view. They think of it from you have to be a genius or a doctor or an expert or a PhD to understand it. So they defer to those people because the average person is so convinced that science is the only way to get to the truth. So that they don't get it. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to be a medical doctor or a PhD or someone that's very intelligent to understand why we get fat. Animals don't understand anything about science. They're not fat. Our ancestors weren't. So you don't have to be. So you don't need to listen to experts. You just need to practice what I call critical thinking skills. You got to think critically and question the advice people tell you. And why are they telling you this? Is it possible that the people that are telling this want you to eat more food so they can make more money? And they want you to buy drugs so you can, if you eat a terrible diet, it makes you sick, you buy more drugs, buy more health care, and you buy more food. So none of those industries, the food industry or the medical industry or the drug industry, has any incentive to tell you the truth. So that's why people don't get it, is because people believe in the system too much. They don't question their doctors. They don't question the media. They don't question experts. They don't rely on their own judgment. So they quit thinking. They just don't want to use critical thinking skills anymore. And one of the tenets to learning is critical thinking skills and questioning. You have to question what the experts tell you, because if you don't, you'll never learn. That's what I've mastered, okay? I've mastered that and when I finally started to pull back from the system and not believe in the lies, or started to assume that they were lying to me, is when I figured out what was going on. And you don't have to be a genius to do this. You just have to have common sense and understand, that the world is not as it's presented, because people want you to believe things so they can make money off of you. So anyway, that's why the average person doesn't understand why they're getting fat. They believe in the whole myth that obesity and gaining weight is purely a mathematical construct, that if you eat calories, you'll put it on. Metabolism is a changed metabolism is why you gain weight. You don't just gain weight because you're eating too much. So it's nonsense. So you have to question what the experts tell you, because if you don't, you're never going to lose weight and you're never going to be healthy. You're never going to be smart. So I talk about all of this in my book. I explain the illusions that these people create, and it's a lot of illusions. They do that because dumb people that don't question are easier to control. So, like I said earlier in the last video, I'm not doing this for money, but this book, I haven't made any money off it, and I don't plan on it. So I'm not doing this. This is a good guide to figure out their game plan, and I teach you what the whole system's rigged to keep you stupid and dumb and fat. So anyway, so that's the video for today. You got to question, you got to use critical thinking skills, or you're just not going to get it. And you're going to be fat forever. And you're going to die 20 years before your time, possibly. And I don't want that to happen to you. So do your best to keep learning and question and use critical thinking skills and question. And don't be intimidated by experts ever again. They're just people. They make mistakes. All right. I hope you liked the video, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you next time.